All this week, we're going to be talking about PCOS, which stands for Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. I'm going to be coming at this from an anatomy and pathology background, so I'm not an OB-GYN, so that's not the kind of information I'm going to be able to give you. But I do want you to consider listing all of your questions, and I'm going to answer as many as I can over the next week. And I know already that you're curious about the stuff that's behind me. We'll get to that in just a minute. Up here is our first lesson about PCOS. Despite the name, you do not have to have cysts on your ovaries to have this syndrome. This is called the Rotterdam criteria. Because of the complexity of this disorder and all of the other compounding factors that can go into getting a diagnosis, they had to come up with a standardized definition for what this syndrome even was. Out of these three criteria, you have to have two of the three. Oligo-ovulation just means a very irregular period. You might only have 2 or 3 a year. Anovulation is a complete lack of a period. Hyperandrogenism is going to be a high level of testosterone or other androgens, typically male hormones. High testosterone can present two different ways. It can be clinical, which is actual physical symptoms. So you may have like male pattern hair growth, maybe beard, facial hair. You can have balding or hair loss. You may have mood swings, all that stuff that's associated with male hormones. And then there's biological. This is where you can actually test for it with a blood test. You can see it in your bloodstream. And then last but not least is the confusing part of this, is the polycystic ovaries, because you can have this or it can be absent, and if you have the other two, you can still have PCOS. To add even more confusion, there's another condition called PCO, which is just polycystic ovary, but it's not a syndrome. It doesn't come with these other factors above me. PCO can be completely normal and will not affect you. You may not even know you have it, and it certainly won't affect your fertility. Whereas PCOS can make it impossible to get pregnant. And I know that everyone with a uterus doesn't want to be pregnant, but this is hormonal at its foundation, and so it can mess with all kinds of other stuff that can make femininity very complicated. All right, we're going to talk about the pictures because this is an ultrasound of a polycystic ovary. They sometimes call these chocolate chip cookie ovaries. The next one's going to be the real deal. If you don't want to see that, feel free to swipe. This is a polycystic ovary. Normally, cysts are a part of ovulation. You get one, it swells, it erupts, an egg comes out. Here, testosterone is getting in the way of that, and they're just building up. They're not completing their cycle. Remember, we're talking about this all week, so if you have a question, put it in the comments now. And as always, thanks for learning with me.